All right, so calendars. Calendars has received a lot of updates and some things have changed. So I want to go through some of it with you. I know what to set up, but we'll set up our basic calendar. And I'll give you some tips that I've gotten from working with hundreds or dozens of contractors that you guys can try to understand. So creating a group allows you to create a group. So I'm going to create a sales, let's call it outside sales, right? And I'm going to just real quick, just put outside sales here, template. I'll just keep that Neo template in there. And then we can do with field or something like that, right? So I can come up field and spec. Now, some of these you're going to see are in use. You'll get more control of that once you set up your domain, by the way. So I would suggest that prior to doing this, the domain is probably pretty important, but not a big deal at the moment. All right. I created a group. I can create a calendar as, all right, I have a new calendar. What do these buttons do? That gives me that. That gives me that. Same difference, right? So let's take a look at these and try to explain them a little bit to you so you understand. A simple calendar, previously called unassigned, could be used for physical events. Okay, sounds good. A round robin, so a calendar that goes around. In other words, like I get the first appointment, you get the second, I get the third, and so forth. This is a round robin. That would be this one. A class booking, contracts can schedule a meeting with a single person on your team so they can pick a particular person. Like I need this person, I need this service. A collective booking, what it does is simultaneously books a bunch of people. Like in other words, we're all going to be part of this meeting. So for example, our discovery call, I would want to have my manager for my estimation team, my claims team, and my collections team all on the call with us, maybe even my marketing team. And I can make a collective booking where if they book that we're all going to be booked on this appointment, right? Let's take this back to the contractor. What's the best? That's a hard one because it really depends on your business, but I'm going to tell you where I would start is simplicity, right? So simplicity, it means simple calendar. Well, we're going to go with this one here. We're going to select this calendar. And what we're going to call this calendar is our inspection calendar and inspection. Now remember, it's slug's already taken count. No big deal. And now it's because, again, when you set up your domain, you're going to have a little bit more control, but no big deal. Okay, my average appointment, I believe, takes 60 minutes at a house. They're booking availabilities all these days. Let's go ahead. Now, what's going to happen is your user and your calendar are two different things. So if you know you have people that work till 8 p.m., you can set this up, but the user that has 5 p.m. will not get that appointment, right? So keep that in mind. You want to go ahead and set this up that way. Enter meeting location. And what I can do here is I can actually put in about contact. I may need to double check this slug here or this token, but it should be that, I believe. Advanced settings, let's take a look at that. Let me close that for a second. Let's go ahead and looks like it did save my calendar, which is good because I was worried about that. So save my calendar. Let's go into, we could set up a logo if we want to, inspection calendar. I can put in what it is. Inspection calendar group. I want to use my outside sales group and meeting invite title, meeting location. And I want this to be that color, doesn't really matter. And I can then save that and it shouldn't close. It should allow me to go to availability and I could go change my availability per day. You see how this is a lot more advanced. So you're going to be able to set up your days. So again, Saturday, let's just say we don't work past 3. And we're going to say 3. Okay. Right. Now, remember, if you want to make your availability actually 4, where the last appointment is at 3, go ahead and do it that way because you have a 60-minute appointment. Meeting interval. So you read here what it says for a 30-minute event that should be available at the top of each hour. So in other words, if I go to your website, can I book at 9:15 or at 9 and 9:30? So every 30 minutes, you can book a 60-minute appointment. I need you to book at least 1 day in advance, but I could use something else. And I'm giving you the preferred settings here. Date range. I don't want to book anything more than 7 days out. Actually, if I could, I would only book 3 days, but I like giving people a little cushion because the further the appointment is from the scheduled date, the more likely it cancels. That's just proven fact in any industry. So better appointments sooner. And if I want minimum scheduled notice to be even less, maybe I just want to say, give me 8 hours before. So I'm almost willing to have appointments sooner. Let's do 12 hours before, right? Bookings per day. Okay, this is where we get into our team and how do I book appointments? Now, ultimately, you want the calendars talking to each other and working great. Everyone comes to us and says, hey, I want my calendar booking and I want to book my guys that use your calendars, but they never do. So I'm going to give you a different way. Let's say I have 5 salespeople. I'm going to allow, and I want each of them to have 3 appointments a day. That's 15 appointments. So technically I would type in 15, right? But I know some of these appointments are going to end up at the same time. I know someone's going to be sick one day. Someone's got to go to pick up their kids. Somebody's requested off. Somebody already had a prior book meeting. So I'm going to take that number and using a little bit of common sense, I'm going to create a little bit of logic here. I'm just going to say 8 appointments a day. And that's roughly about half. Maximum bookings per slot. In other words, if you book 8:30, can they book another 8:30? I have 5 people and someone may be busy. So I'm going to just say 3. See what I'm doing there? I'm like coming up with these middle numbers to allow me to take any of these appointments. And then after the appointment's booked, assign it to a particular person, because this is going to allow me to do a better job of getting more appointments, getting more sales ultimately, but not having to overthink stuff. Now, buffer time. In other words, after this appointment's finished, how long do you want to wait? Let's be honest, sales guys talk. So, but I don't want them talking too long. So I'm going to put in 30 minutes right now, just for a little buffer time if that need be. So here's all my settings for there. I'm going to save that. And we're going down to our forms. Now, these are forms that are being sent out. First name, last name. As a default part, I confirm that I want to receive content from this company using contact information provided. Confirmation page. I could put in my Facebook Pixel ID. I won't get into this so much right now. In the future, there is some things that we can do here that are cool. But let's go and just save that. And let's go to notifications. Do I want to send acknowledgement email? Who should receive this notification? The contact should receive it. Additional emails, maybe you want a copy of somebody. So who should receive this notification? The acknowledgement email, right? So I'm going to save that. Let's go to our connections. I can link a calendar. I haven't linked any of my Google or anything like that, but let's just say I wanted to link it. I can link it there. Customizations, I can do allow reschedule, allow cancel, and this is those notes. If I want to make this bigger, this kind of helps, and you can clean it up if you wanted to, but let's not spend too much time on that. We're going to save that. And that's going to essentially create our calendar. There's our calendar and we have it. Now you can add more calendars, but we have a group. I haven't added anyone to that group yet. Remember that, but I've made a group. So now let me make my way over to my group. And what I'm going to want to do is inside the group, I'm going to want to, let's go and see how this is done. Use calendar groups officially on site sales group. I'm going to have to get back to you myself on that as how we do that, because I will need to look at that a little closer. Let's see, services menu, rooms, equipment. So this is if you're selling different services, different rooms, different equipment. I wouldn't worry too much about that. We have our availability. We have our connections where I can connect these things. By the way, Stripe is a payment gateway. Something later you might want to consider when I show you some secrets on that. Now, going back to the calendar group thing, don't worry. The answer will be in a following video. It's just something that sometimes these features get released so fast that I'm not up to date on myself. And I will show you how to add that person in there. I would imagine if I go into this person and I go into their user availability, calendar configuration, something in there, but I will worry about that later. So that gets our calendar set up. Now we're going to get into the next step, conversation AI. This is super cool, and I'll explain more about it in a bit.